In this video, we will study about the log values with the help of log table. This topic is very important because sometimes in the numericals when we have to use this log concept, we are not able to understand how to use this log values. So that's what it's important to understand this concept very well. So let's start this topic. As you see here, this is log, its base is 10 and any number is capital N. This is the representation of, here is the base 10. It could be 4, 5, but here if we use the log table, then we consider always the base is 1. And whatever the value of this we are getting, it is equal to x. X will definitely be a number. It could be 2.314 or any random numbers, whatever the value of n, according to that, the x depends. So here the value of x is a combination of two different numbers. One is the characteristic and the second is Mantasha. Characteristics are integers and Mantasha are decimal numbers. Characteristic could be positive or it could be negative, means we can take +1 also or -1 also. But Mantasha is always positive, means we can't write it in negative term. So let's look into more about this characteristic and Mantasha. So here as you see, characteristic is the integral part of the logarithm. It means that its value is always in the form of integer. And Mantasha, it's a decimal form of the logarithm and it always considered to be positive, and this Mantasha we can find with the help of log table. Characteristic we can find by certain rules that we'll discuss just now, but Mantasha can only be found with the help of log table. So let's understand with some example. As you see here, this is log 10 to the power 4386. Its log value is 3.6420. So here you see before the decimal, means on the left side of the decimal, we have a number 3. So this 3 is representation of characteristic, means this comes under the characteristic. And the remaining value, that decimal 6420, it is the Mantasha. The same number we can also understand in this way. It can be written as 3 plus 0.6420. So what is 3? 3 is the integer and this 0.6420 is the decimal. So that's what here this 3 is the representation of characteristic and this 0.6420 is the Mantasha. Similarly, another example, this is log 10 to the power 23.65. Its value is 1.3701. So what is the 1 here? This 1 is the characteristic and this 0.3701 is the Mantasha. You can also understand it as 1 plus 0.3701. So 1 is the characteristic and this part is the Mantasha. So let's look into the certain rules that we can use to find the characteristic. So here in this part, we have to find the characteristic of log 10 to the power n. N could be any number. So we have to follow two rules. In rule number 1, if n value is greater than or equal to 1, then the characteristic is 1 less than the number of digits to the left of the decimal present. What is the meaning of this statement? Let's understand. As you see here, you have a number 5376.4. So this 5376 is the left part of the decimal. And how many total numbers are on the left side? This is equal to 4. So if we have to find the characteristic, we have to use the formula n minus 1. What is the n here? 4. So 4 minus 1, it's equal to 3. So characteristic is here 3. So that's what here it is mentioned, that characteristic is 1 less than the number of digit to the left of the decimal. In the second example, as you see 4385, there is no decimal. So we assume that here is a decimal. And then on the left side, this is the left side of the decimal, we have 4 numbers. N is equal to 4. So this characteristic will be here n minus 1. So 4 minus 1, it's equal to 3. Let's understand one more example. Here we have 183.74. So on the left side, how many numbers are there? three numbers. Total 3-digit numbers are there. So what is the characteristic in this case? N minus 1. So it is equal to 2. So when n is greater than 1 or equal to 1, then we can use this relation. But what will happen if n is less than 1? In this case, the characteristic is always a negative number. And what is the value of it? So its numeric value is 1 more than the number of 0 between the decimal point and the first non-zero figure. Let's understand with this example. As you see in this here, this is the decimal value, here is the decimal, and after 1 0 we have one non-zero number. Here 4 is the non-zero number. So after how many zeros this non-zero number comes? So after 1. So we assume n is equal to 1 here. So to find the characteristic for this example, the formula is n plus 1. And this is always negative, so minus we have to place outside. So C is equal to minus 1 plus 1. So C is equal to minus 2. We got the value of characteristic here. Similarly, in this example, this is the decimal here and 5 is the first non-zero number on the right side. So how many zeros lying between these two? N is equal to 2. So based on that, C is equal to minus n plus 1. So we can say minus 2 plus 1. So C is equal to minus 3. Similarly, in this example, as you see here in this example, how many zeros are given? 3 zeros. And then we have a non-zero number. So we can say that n is equal to 3 and C is equal to minus 3 plus 1. So C is equal to minus 4. So based on that, we can easily find the characteristic. And to find the characteristic, we have to just follow these two rules. Now let's understand how to find the Mantasha. To find the Mantasha, we have to follow certain rules. Here, suppose this is our log value. So whatever the value of the n, we write is as it is in the standard decimal form. Let's assume we get log 10 here 23.93. So our n value is 23.93. Even it is decimal is present, we write it. Now in the second part, if n is a decimal, ignore the position of the decimal point. So what is the next step? We got the decimal value. Now we remove the decimal. So here we can write n is equal to 2393. So this is the value that we have to find from with the help of log table. Log table we will use to find the value of 2393. So now the question comes how to use this log table to find this value. So now we will understand how to use this log table. So let's look into that. So here this table that you see, it's called as log table. And here in the log table we have to understand three things. First is the row, second is the column, and the third is the mean difference. So row is always in the vertical direction. And these numbers 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 and 16, it could be more, but here we took from 10 to 16. These are the values that we can find with the help of this row. Now what about the column? Columns are these numbers 1 to 9. These are the columns representation. And here the mean difference is from this part. This is the mean difference part. Now, if we have to find the log value with the help of log table, so how we will do that? Let's look into that. As you see, we took example. Here this is log 10 to the power n, and here is example of log 10 to the power 13.86. So 13.86 is our n value. So as we discussed in the previous Mantasha method, so we remove the decimals from the n value. So we assume that n is equal to 1386. So the first two numbers, initial two numbers like here 13, this gives information about the row. It means that if this is 13, so we have to go to the row 13. Now, after that 8 is present. This 8 gives information about the column. So in column, we know that it is from 0 to 9. So we have to reach to the 8th column. So here is the 8th column. Now this 13 and 8th matches at this number. So 1399 we got from these three digits. Now the last one, which is the unit. This unit digit gives information about the mean difference. What is the mean difference here? 6. So we go to the 6 table and here we match with the 19. Now after doing it, what is our work? Our work is to find the log of this value. So the Mentasha is equal to 0.1399 plus 0.0019. I previously told you that Mentasha is always in the decimal form. So even these values are not in the decimal, but we write in form of decimals. So 1399 in decimal, we write it as 0.1399 plus this is the mean difference is 19. So 19 we write in the 4 decimal as 0.0019. This is a very important concept. If you understand this, then everything looks easier to you. So here we can say that Mentasha value is equal to 0.1418. So we got this Mentasha. So can you tell me in this number n, what could be the characteristic of this value? So this is value is more than 1. So in more than 1, so as it is more than 1, so we follow the rule of n minus 1. What is the n here? Left side of the numbers from the decimal. So n is here 2. So 2 minus 1 is equal to 1. So if we have to find the log of this, we can simply write it as 1, which is the characteristic, plus Mentasha is 0.1418. So based on that, we can easily find it, the log value of this number. So this is just a understanding of a logarithm. In the next module, I will explain in detail how to use this concept. So I hope you understood this part completely. Now we will use the method to find the log. So here, the first method is we write down the given question. Like here, our question is log 10 to the power 10.25. And now after that, we write the value of n. What is the n value? 10.25. So here, first work is to find the characteristic of it. So what is the characteristic in this case? This is how much? This is 2. N is equal to 2. So the characteristic formula is greater than this, n is greater than 1. So we use n minus 1. So 2 minus 1 is 1. So that's what here the characteristic is written as 1. Now after writing the characteristic, we need to find the Mentasha. So for that we need to follow the log table. So what is the value here? N 10.25. So if it is 10.25, we write it without decimal. So it is 10 and then 25, no decimal. So 1025. So first two numbers represents the row. So in row, we have to go to the 10. I just zoom it. This is the 10 here. Now, this is the 2. 2 represents column. So here is the 2. What is the value for that? Value is 0086. So 0086 can be written as 0.0086. Now, what is this unit place? 5. This is the mean difference. So mean difference is 5. Its value is 21. So we write plus 0.0021. So that's what here it is mentioned. Mentasha value is 0.0086. This is getting from the 102, means 10 and 2. And this is from the unit place 5. Now if we add it, it's equal to 0.0107. So now what we did, we found the value of the Mantasha. We already found the value of characteristic. So we already studied that if we have to represent any log value into the form of x, what is x? It's a combination of characteristic and the Mantasha. So what is the characteristic we got in this question? It's 1. So that's what here it is written as 1. And Mantasha is 0.0107. This is the Mantasha value. So if we combine both of it, it's equal to 1.0107. So this is the value of this log. Let's try more questions based on it to clear the doubts. Here in this example, we are taking log 10 to the power 23.45. So this is 23.45 is our n. So n is equal to 23.45. What is the characteristic of it? Characteristic will be 1. Why it is 1? Because on the left side of the decimal, how many digits are there? 2 digits. So n is equal to, a small n is equal to 2. And this n value is greater than 1. So to find the characteristic, we can use n minus 1 relation, and here n is 2 minus 1 is equal to 1. So based on that, we find the characteristic. Now to find the Mantasha, we have to remove this decimal. So when we remove this decimal, we can write it 2345. And this 2345 in that 23 represents row, 4 represents column, and 5 represents mean difference. So we will go to the row 23. So we can zoom it here. This is row 23. And then we have to go to the column 4. Where is the column 4? Here is the column 4. So this value is 3692. And after this, we have to go to the mean difference as 5. So this is the mean difference 5. So based on that, as we know that Mantasha is only represented in term of decimal, so for the combination of row and the column, we got the value as 0.3692. Means this 3692 will be represented as 0.3692. And what about this 9? It will be added. So it is 0.0009 because both will be on the fourth decimal. So now if we add both of it, we get 0.3701. So we got the value of Mantasha. Now if we have to find this x is a combination of characteristic and Mantasha. So characteristic, how much we got? 1. So we represent 1 here. And Mantasha is 0.3701. So after combining both of it, x is equal to 1.3701. For better clarity, let's try one more example. Here in this example, x is equal to log 4.17. So n value is 4.17. So what is the characteristic of it? It will be 0. How we know that it's 0? So on the left side, how many digits we have? We have only one digit. Value we are not taking, we are taking the digit. So here n is equal to 1. And we know that for finding the characteristic, it should be n minus 1. So 1 minus 1, it's equal to 0. So C is equal to 0. Characteristic is how much? 0. Now we got the characteristic value. Second work is to find the Mantasha. So now here we will remove this decimal and n is equal to 417. So first two numbers represents what? It represents row. And the third one represents the column. So we will go to the, let's zoom this one. We go to the table 41. This is the 41. In that we have to reach to the column 7. Here is the column 7. Let's match which number is matching. This is 62 and 01 means 6201. That number is matching here. So if we have to find the value of x, we have to combine characteristic and Mantasha. So x is equal to, characteristic is how much? 0. And Mantasha is 0.6201. So this value will be written in term of decimals. So after combining, x is equal to 0.6201. So this is the value of this log 10 to the power 4.17. So we saw in two examples, both where we consider n was greater than or equal to 1. Now we consider where the n value is less than 1. So let's look into that two examples based on it. So here, first example, as you see, x is equal to log 10 to the power 0.325. Most of the students, I notice that they have a difficulty when the n value is less than 1, because the rule is little bit difficult in this case, so we will try to understand it in a proper way. As n is here, how much? 0.325. So what is the characteristic? So see, in this case, we will work on the what is the number which lies between decimal and the non-zero numbers. So here this is the decimal and the non-zero number is next to it. So there is no zeros lies between decimal and the 3. So it means that in this case n is equal to 0. So we found the value of n, and if we have to find the characteristic, it's equal to minus 0 plus 1. We are adding 1. So in this case it is minus 1. So characteristic is equal to minus 1. Now Mantasha we have to find. Characteristic we got. So if we remove this decimal, our n can be written as 325. So if we have to find the value of n, it's equal to 325. So 32 will give the information of the row and 5 will give the information about the column. So here if we have number is 32, so this is 32 here, and we have to go to the fifth column. So which number is matching? 5119. So we write this 5119 in term of decimals. So it's equal to 0.5119. So we got the Mantasha, we got the characteristic. We need to simply add both of it. So characteristic value is minus 1, Mantasha is 0.5119. If we combine both of it, it's equal to minus 0.4881. This same thing can also be represented as 1 bar over it. This is a bar over it. Then decimal 5119. So this bar is actually a representation of minus 1. So it means that when we write in the bar, it means that it's equal to minus 1 plus 0.5119. The same value that we mention it here. If you want the exact value, you can follow this way, or you need only the in a representation way, then you can follow 1 bar over it, then 5119. Both are correct. So this is the answer of this log 10 to the power 0.325 value. Let's understand another example. So here in this example, you see x is equal to log 10 to the power 0.00056. So same method again repeated. We first write the n value. It's equal to 0.00056. Now we have to find what is the characteristic of it. So I hope that till now you get idea how to find the characteristic. So to find the characteristic in this example, we know that here is the decimal and 5 is the non-zero number. How many zeros lies between decimal and the 5? Total 3 zeros. So n is equal to, a small n is equal to 3. If we have to find the characteristic, it's equal to minus n plus 1. So now n is equal to 3. So minus 3 plus 1, it's equal to minus 4. So this characteristic is minus 4. Now we remove this decimal. So this n can be written as 56 without decimal. So based on that, we need to find the Mantasha. So as you see here is 56. This is the 56. And 56, and after 56 there is no number. So we take it as 0. So here it is 7482. This 7482 can be written as 0.7482. Now if we have to find the value of x, we have to combine the characteristic and Mantasha. This is the method. What is the characteristic? Minus 4. What is the Mentasha? 0.7482. If you further solve it, it's equal to minus 3.2518. This can be also represented as 4 bar dot 7482, means this whole thing minus 4 is actually represented as 4 bar, and then we can simply write it 4 bar with Mentasha value 7482. So by this way, we can find the value of this log 10 to the power 0.00056. I hope you understood this example properly. So by this method, you can find easily any log values with the help of log table. If you like this video, you can do subscribe it, comment it, and share it to your friends. Thank you.